Okay, I'm here with Daniel Edmonds of the Australian Tea Party, head of the Queensland Division. Congratulations on being head of the Queensland Division.
Thanks, James.
Tell me about the Tea Party, how is it expanding, and how does America like what's happening in Australia with the Australian Tea Party?
Oh, absolutely. The Tea Party at the moment is absolutely a massive international grassroots conservative effort that's really sweeping the world. We've got 72 million people involved in the Tea Party across 13 countries and growing, and we're really getting some real traction here in Australia, which is just really exciting. We've now got branches in all the major capital cities and recruiting people across Australia to really get involved in the issues that are important.
What's the main recruitment call?
Well, the main thing that the Tea Party stands for is 8 words. That's fiscal responsibility, free markets, and constitutionally limited government. So this is something that we can really all stand behind if we love freedom and we love the way we live here in Australia, and that's something that we have in common with our friends and colleagues that are involved in the Tea Party overseas as well, James.
The threat of the carbon tax, what sort of effect do you think that's had on the economy generally, just the threat of it?
Well, the uncertainty has had a massive impact. In my day-to-day living, I'm a finance broker. I run my own business, and the uncertainty that I'm seeing from my clients and in their families and in their businesses is just absolutely immeasurable. So this is before they've even put a price on this monstrosity. This is before we even know what the effects are actually going to be on our families. But the uncertainty has had a huge impact on businesses and on families and on the family budgets already. And we've seen a massive increase in the cost of living already as businesses gear up to try and absorb the cost of this tax.
Do you think there's any truth in the assertion that if a socialist government increases the tax, or believes they're going to increase tax, they automatically increase their borrowings?
It wouldn't surprise me one bit, because the approach that the government has taken is one of spend more, tax more, spend more, tax more, and increasing their control over as much as they can. The fact of the matter is you can find carbon and carbon dioxide in absolutely every industry, every production, every industry within Australia. So it really is an exercise in gaining control and as much control over those industries as possible, sucking as much wealth out of those businesses as they can, and then obviously spending more. So the track record stands for itself. This is a government that wants to tax more and spend more.
Do you think this tax is in fact a redistribution tax?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, as soon as you scratch below the surface and look at the apparatus that's putting this tax into place, you realise that it's a much greater global movement of organisations and of individuals that are directly opposed to Australia's own national interest. And what that is an additional layer of government, which is a global layer of government, and this is their revenue stream. This is how they want to generate income, and as a bribe to get people to accept this massive tax, they want to redistribute a very small proportion of that to certain individuals and groups who they find favourable or who they want to gain favour with, and then obviously pocket the rest to grow their own wealth and control over people. But absolutely, I mean, there's no other way of looking at this when you look at the structure of how this tax works, that it is nothing but a redistributive tax to take money from people, businesses and families that produce wealth, and to use it in government bureaucracy, and then distribute a very small amount of that back to individuals so that the government can get them on side to support the tax.
So Gillard's borrowings increased from $100 million a day from the budget rate to $163 million a day.
That's right.
Do you think she's borrowed that money on the basis that she's going to be able to pay it back with an increased tax?
Well, you know, call me cynical, but I think it's pretty hard not to look at it in that sense. The interest at the moment's coming up at over $500,000 a day. So how are they going to pay for this? You know, it seems pretty obvious they're going to have to either drastically cut costs within the budget, which they've really not shown a track record of being able to do, or somehow generate further income. The insanity of the tax, though, is this. By putting such a punitive tax onto families and onto businesses, it will actually stifle the economic growth to the point where the actual amount of economic activity will be drastically reduced, and they'll actually be generating less income for themselves anyway. And that's what this is really about. It's not just about getting revenue, it's about control. Taking control over families and their businesses so that they can take control over those industries.
So recently, Senator Barnaby Joyce stated that there was an $8.4 billion shortfall in income tax revenue and as he claimed, that was a result of increased taxation actually resulted in an $8.4 billion shortfall in the Labor budget.
Correct. I mean, any basic understanding of how economics works will tell you that the more you tax, the more you punish success, and the less drive there is for families and businesses to go out there and build success for their own families, because as soon as they generate that extra bit of success, the government's going to step in there and take that profit and that wealth away from them. So what it actually does is has this impact on business, which makes them stop wanting to generate wealth, stop wanting to hire new employees, and stop wanting to generate.
So what's a serious motive for wanting to increase tax to an outrageous degree?
Well, really, if we have a look at the people that are behind this tax, the key driver for them is that what they want to do is they want to gain control. What this is really about is gaining control. They want our economy not to grow. They don't want our standard of living to go up, but they don't want us to be able to heat and feed our families the way we've been used to, because all under the guise of the less people that there are here, the less economic activity that we have, that this is supposedly going to have a positive impact on the environment. So that's really that's the way they're selling this idea to us. But really, the true motive behind this is to gain control. It's about gaining control of absolutely every aspect of our life.
Now, for YouTube watchers who are seeing this,
yes,
what's the best way to get hold of the Tea Party for them?
Okay, well, you can go to the Tea Party at ozteaparty.com.au. We also have a YouTube channel that you can link to through our website. We're also on Facebook as well, so you can link up with us through all those social medias as well, James.
Sounds good to me.
Fantastic.
Good on you.
No worries, James.